Yeah, okay. Should be good to go.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's working now. Yeah, yeah. It is finally working.
It is so. Everything is
Yep.
set.
Everything is set. What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
And
this will be our first of hopefully many more podcasts to come. So we're gonna
yeah,
improve things a little by little. As you can see, we're kind of new to this.
yes. And you can tell, obviously, that we are missing Ram as well. He'll join us for the next one for sure.
Yeah, he's in a travel. We don't know where he is.
Yep. So we are just gonna be talking about how we started in the video game industry, maybe some small anecdotes, just talking. And if you have any question at all, just write it and let's just have fun together.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, how can we start? Well, what I can remember is like it was like 2012, and I well first I entered the university to study software engineering. I thought that they will teach me how to make games. Actually, this is how these universities like grab your attention. They tell you you will have like a video game course the first term, and you have like a super basic one.
Hold on, Cesar says that it is a little low. I think your microphone could be.
Mine?
Mm, is only Mao low, Cesar? But for now, keep going until he says something. I hear you just fine though.
Mm, so let me check the OBS thing. Looks okay.
Uh, yeah, I can hear you just fine. Maybe it's on your side, Cesar.
Hmm, could be.
But anyways, keep going. So, well, this is mainly on well, our experiences in South America, right? Not sure about US or any other countries, universities, but yeah, they try to get you that way in here.
Yep.
Keep going.
So I didn't learn anything. I mean, I learned some programming concepts, but it was like all theory. Like, yeah, I could program some things here and there, but it was impossible for me to imagine that I will make a 3D game or something like that. So I found like a small advertising from a local uh, institution where they teach game development, and they sold me the idea that I could make like 3D games, and it was kind of expensive actually. I think it was like $1,000 or something like that, or a little less, a little more. I don't remember. Um, but the first weeks I was like amazed because they teach me Unity, and compared to what I know back then, which was nothing, was like, wow, this thing is amazing. I can finally do everything. And
Hmm.
then I just start learning a little bit on YouTube, and I realized that they were not teaching me anything.
I remember you came to me and Nick, am I still roboty? Is it better? Because I tried to modify it a little bit. And I remember on that anecdote that you're telling, you came to me and you told me, yeah, I know nothing about 3D, but I could tell that my teacher was just talking pure crap because I asked him what was the difference between a low poly and a high poly. And he was just like, oh, you just need to look at the file size. That's the way
Yeah.
how you tell. Like,
Yeah, that was the definition of high polygon modeling and low polygon. You just need to take a look at the file size. But that, yeah, that was the reality here. I think still is to some extent, um, but especially back then where all the information was really a little bit underground. It was not as mainstream as it is today, where Unreal has a lot of followers. Everyone knows about it. Even people who don't uh, create games, they know about Unreal Engine, and that wasn't the case back then. Uh, that was very niche, and at that time, I mean, only Unity was. It wasn't free, but it had a free version. Uh, and then Unreal was free, but it was called UDK, the Unreal Development Kit.
I
And
had so much fun with Matinee. Yeah, I remember UDK for sure.
yeah, it
It
was
was really
pretty fun.
nice.
Especially compared after using Unity and then I went to Unreal. It was like, oh, that was my personal experience. Like, if you like to use Unity, that's fine. But for me, it was a game changer, and that was 2012, where we were using Unreal 3. It was quite different from what it is now, but to be honest, a lot of things still the same. It's basically the same base, the same everything. It's just some new
Mhm.
additions.
So while you were and a, a little bit better, I'm glad. Well, if it's possible, hopefully it's fine. I cannot seem to solve it. Um, I just switched microphone, so okay. While you were taking that course, I remember that I just got out of school and I didn't want to study. Right? It's just classic. And my parents were pushing me to just get on the university, right? Or not even just get on the institute because we couldn't afford the university. And I just went on to study. I don't think you guys have that subject over there, but it's something like administration of enterprises or something like that. It's something really basic that my father also studied, and I was just there, just passing time, I guess. And I wasn't really attending to the classes or anything. I was just a little bit lost. And then Mauricio came with the idea, right, of making video games. And actually, now that I remember, it wasn't quite like that. I think, yeah, I like studied 3 cycles of that subject. Then I just left, and I just had to study something else. And I went to, what's the name? It's named informatics here, I think. It's something to do with programming too. I went there for like almost a year and a half, and then Mauricio came with the idea of doing video games, and I was so glad to leave it. I just could not stand it at all.
The real
What's
drop off.
yes?
Yeah.
What's up, man? What's up, Ninja, Cherif, Luke, everyone?
Yeah, it was weird times because that back then there wasn't much information about it, but you could still find like great websites like Eat3D and things like that. And just by looking at the tutorials, like I had to leave the course I was enrolled. Like, I'm not finishing.
I'm really advanced, right? I kind of miss those tutorials. They were really good, but they're broke now, right? They just
Yeah.
stopped doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
Mm-hmm.
they, well, yeah, they put it for free on YouTube. If you look for it 3D, they have a lot of great tutorials, but they're using Unreal 3. Back then, that was amazing, actually, amazing information. And after that, I think we just tried to create our own thing and fail like forever.
Yeah, we had to fake my almost death, right? To get out of the group. It was like, oh, okay, sorry guys, Guillermo is going to Germany. We cannot keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of groups like you make at that point, they don't work out. Most, mm, even today, most groups uh, won't work out. Right now, after so many years, we're very selective with the people we work with because it's very hard to create a synergy between all the team. and have all like the same mindset, and also like the same level of trust, which you cannot get with someone new you just met. So um, I think a lot of people will relate to just creating a project and just go terribly wrong. Like it's it just goes bad. It doesn't finish, and it goes especially uh, there. There's a lot of time invested in the idea phase where everyone is super hype and it's like let's
Ooh.
just create this
Mhm.
super game. We still see until today like this MMOs uh, just cannot even navigate into the viewport. Let's create a massive multiplayer online game. Let's do
Any
this.
idea for MMOs, dude?
Yeah,
You guys
and you
have to
think like
stop me.
I'm different. No, no. Some people have that. Like I'm the real. I'm different. That's a phase. That's a phase.
Mhm. Yeah, 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 for sure. And we also, well, you didn't start as an environment artist either, right? We both started just doing 3D. We wanted to do characters, actually. We wanted to do characters. And
Mm.
it was quite a journey. What do you remember about that?
I think when I just start learning 3D, I just grab all these objects, like whatever. I just learn it because everything was so new that I need to learn everything, and that was a lot of information. I was learning how to model, I was learning how to do textures, um, how to do the rig, how to animate, how to do VFX. I touch pretty much every 3D topic there is, like how to sculpt, how to. I was learning anatomy to make characters. Um, there was a lot of things to digest, and I think the first part it took a lot of time to learn, and it's still pretty bad. Like you compare at that time, there wasn't any art station, but there was CG Hub, where it's pretty much like art station, the same concept, and you can compare your work with this super artist, and you're like, wow, I'm years behind these guys, which is true, right? Um, and that's normal, I think. But yeah, when you start, you just need to learn everything because it's better to know it, and even if you don't specialize on it, you already know what is it about, so you can make better decisions uh, when working. And yeah, that's pretty much how it started, as far as I can remember. At that time was digital tutors, like just grab everything
Oh,
from there.
yeah.
YouTube, very little YouTube videos actually. Not really. Most of them were like Gundam Workshop, um, websites, E3D. Very little YouTube.
Mhm. Yeah. And, well, Satyam asked us, can you recommend some tutorial to start C++ coding in Unreal? If Ram was here, I think he could recommend you something. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what I could tell you. Yeah.
I think like if you're new to programming, uh, you should learn blueprints. It's a great way to learn how to program. It's very visual. Everyone can learn it. And later on, if you want to learn C++, um, of course, there are a bunch of resources out there. Ourselves, we plan on creating a C++ tutorial in the future, like for beginners to kickstart your journey with C++. But to be honest, uh, I wouldn't think too much about it. Just do blueprints. They do the same thing. When we do our games, we use blueprints and C++. But it's mostly blueprints, like 70% blueprints or even more, especially when we're prototyping. So I will put more weight into learning blueprints. Do not let that stop you. But if you already know, of course, there are many resources out there. The way programmers learn is just by doing, trying things, failing, solving problems, and just keep doing them until you become good at solving problems. But I think a course in C++ is something that it's on the list for a while. We might do it sometime soon. I don't know. We will see.
Well, let's get back to it. So we were just with our group trying to make games work, right? We were like, well, we started as three, you, Ram, and I, and then we implemented four more guys, right? Were we seven?
Yeah, four. Yeah, like
And
yeah, four more guys. It
that
got out of
was,
control.
but that was, well, the biggest group we had, and also the longest we could maintain. I mean, no, I need to rephrase it. That 7-man group, that's the one that lasted the most, right?
Yeah.
With those, the guys that didn't do really much. And then you ended up living for yourself after that trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. So before that, so um, I think before that group was formed, after I felt like a super beginner, right? After watching all these tutorials for so many years, I felt like I'm the best of the worst, something like that. And
Mhm.
then Unreal 4 came out, and at that time you need to pay like $20 a month. Then it became free, but at the same time the marketplace went out and it was
Mhm.
empty. And I wake up with the idea that, hey, maybe I can do this, pick up objects like stars, coins, like Super
Ooh.
Mario. And I just wake up directly from the bed to the computer and start creating them, create the models, and I start doing the blueprints and everything. And then I ask Ram, hey, I know you have more like programming knowledge than me. Why don't you do the blueprint part, which I think it can end up better than just doing it myself, and we can split the money. Yeah, he agreed. We complete the package, and we forgot about it. We put it on sale, and at that time there was only one page in the Unreal Marketplace, so
Mm.
it was pretty easy to sell back then. But
We
the
didn't spend
product,
much though.
yeah, the product wasn't like revolutionary. If we had the skills we have now and do the same, then we will have sold a lot of copies back then.
It will be different.
Yeah, but yeah, we forgot about it. After several months, he's like, "Hey," he tells me, I got a message from the bank. It says I have $100." It's like, $100 from what? It's like, oh,
Oh,
looks like
right.
it's from Epic.
You need to gather 100, right? And then they will pay you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Remember.
I felt like, man, I just did this and I get $100. I can keep doing this. Let's create more
Mhm.
packages. So we gather like a small team. We start with you and Ram and another guy, and we just start
Mhm.
creating more high quality packages. And we did that the entire summer. The entire summer we were just grinding, and
Mhm.
I think that was a good experience because by creating those packages, we learned real production skills. And it wasn't that easy because these marketplace guidelines have a lot of standards. You cannot just put any kind of model. Technically, it needs to be correct, and it needs to have some quality into it. So when we create those, we learn a lot. Myself, I create hundreds, if not thousands, of 3D models during that time. because we need to make a lot.
And you were so burnt out too. I
I
remember
was
that.
I was very burned out, and
You were also tired.
but
Always tired.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot
Mm.
about 3D production.
Mhm. Mauricio, we have a couple of questions here. Well, I will know how to answer this one. It just says, I just have one question. How to render textures and make them more optimizable?
How to optimize the textures. I'm not sure what you mean by render textures. If you want to optimize textures, we have a tutorial on how to optimize the textures for your game. Just take a look at the channel, the playlist of complete Unreal Engine 5 tutorials, and you will find it. It's like how to optimize textures. Okay.
Hmm. And then another question. It says, I wanted to ask you guys, how on earth did you learn so many 3D softwares so easily? Is it the 80/20 rules that helps you? Well, we had free time. I mean, we were dedicating only on doing 3D games, and we were just earning what, $20 a month each. So, well, we had the time to learn, and in my case, I just started doing 3D like Mauricio, and it just didn't click, and just started learning more things until VFX just clicked, right?
Yeah,
But
we
just
needed
kept trying.
particles for the packages we were doing.
They were so bad. Oh my God. But I was so proud back then, and I remember once too for the, I think it was for the iconic um, package that I did some spinning particles, which I was really proud of. And
Yeah.
then I tried it on Ram's computer, and it looked way different. And it was because for a year I had been working on what, low settings on Unreal, and everything looked very different. No wonder the particles look different when I was following tutorials. Like, well, I guess I'm just gonna put more speed because I don't see much. I was just so oblivious, really. But yeah,
Yeah.
in your case, how did you learn so many 3D softwares so fast?
I'm not sure if it's fast. Like it was like it's been 10 years since then.
It's been long, yes.
I will say like the first three I start feeling more confident about it. But um now I just practice. This 3D thing is just practice and keep practicing. And now I don't watch many tutorials. I just do whatever it is that what I want to do, and I learn by doing. Like for example, how to model inside Unreal. There wasn't any tutorial back then. I I think I was the first tutorial that did a complete introduction to that, and I just learned by doing it. Each button I create something, and I try to play with the settings, and then I do the same for all the buttons, and until I become familiar with it. So that's pretty much it. But now I learn faster compared to when I start, because a lot of things are relatable in the 3D world. So I don't think it's fast. I think I'm pretty slow learner actually. Uh, but
But you're very steady.
yeah, I'm slow
Yeah.
but steady, and
Okay.
but I'm slow. I'm pretty slow to learn.
Oh,
Okay. One
Canis
last
here
question.
asks. Oh, sorry.
One last question.
Oh yeah. Well, we have plenty, but one last for now. So, can we actually make everything with blueprints? I
Yeah,
mean, if it gets more complex, is it really necessary? Hmm?
you could make everything with blueprints. There are several projects that are made entirely in blueprints. Yeah, you
It,
could. Like
it,
uh, uh, advice that Ram probably give is
It's very much, yeah,
to create
because
C++ for your core project, but you don't really need it. I mean, you could. That's the best thing, maybe, but to be honest, it will run just fine. So don't be so picky about it.
let's continue and then we can check more questions.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the marketplace, right, and how we
Mm,
started developing those packages.
yeah, that was like
So
a month. No, 3 months of doing the
3 months.
three more packages, two more. I don't remember.
I think it was two more, but ending that, we decided to start making a game, right?
Mm. Yeah, but we decided to do some more complex. So we did some characters like modular
Mm.
knights and a
Oh,
beggar
right.
bike, which has been updated plenty of times since back then. Uh, and yeah, those were the when we finished those, it's like that's it. I don't want to do more marketplace because it is production. Like you need to create everything from scratch. You need to use your own textures. Everything needs to be perfect. And that was pretty stressful. Uh, Maybe we won't continue to do the marketplace. I don't know. But um, after that, we decided to create some games.
Mm.
We
It
already
was
had a
pretty.
small team.
That was pretty exciting, right? Because the idea came because there was some kind of convention in Colombia, right? And we just got invited, and it was like, okay, it's in a month. We need to make something really quick, right? What do you remember about that time?
Yeah. At that time, we were really naive.
Mm.
Um, and was like we thought that we could get some help from the government if we show our game. Um, that doesn't happen. And it was like there is this convention you need to travel to Colombia to showcase product that you're making to represent the country. And back then we met some people in the industry and they asked us like, what are you gonna show? It's like, oh, a game. It's like, oh, you have a game? Yeah, we do. At that time we didn't have anything, not even the idea.
Okay. Or the experience of, yeah,
So
nothing. Mhm.
it's like we put ourselves in a situation where, damn, we need to finish this in 2 months, and we create something nice. I think I'm still proud of it. Uh,
It was fun, yeah.
yeah,
It was a roguelike in 3D, and it was coming along pretty nice for 1 month work. Yeah,
yeah. For
I
two
had I had
months,
a fun.
that was my first accomplishment in like, oh well, we can really do something. Like we never done this kind of thing before. We never created a game. Uh, this thing, it's not so bad for 2 months. Uh,
Wait, two? It was 1 month, I think, or was it two?
1 month something, I don't know.
Mm,
Uh,
okay, okay.
but we did a lot of overtime, a lot of things that I wouldn't do today.
I remember how we were back then. Yeah, we
Mm,
were all really, yeah, especially you.
yeah, it was too much. But I mean, it was really rewarding. I still feel like the best way to work is it's like a lion. You go hunt, then work intensively, and then you rest. Take periods of just low stress work, just more relaxed. And then when there is a challenge, I kind of enjoy the challenge when there is like a small tight deadline with something very rewarding, like a game jam or something. They are hard,
Mm.
but they're still rewarding. Like we create something out of our hard work, and we can see the results. But I wouldn't do that very often. And so yeah, we create a small game. It's like an action game roguelite, and we use our own marketplace assets to create it faster. Like we create
Mm.
our own character using our modular kit. I remember you made some effects like the trail attacks. They were
I
pretty
was so
fun.
proud. I was really proud
Yeah,
of that. I had so much fun creating that.
and at that
Yes.
time we got a friend that made the animations, and he was learning. And you can
Hmm.
see like from the start of the project, his animations were like, "Nah, it's okay, we can use that." And at the end
Hmm.
of the project, after we came back from travel and decided to work a little bit more on it, uh, I think they were really nice. If my memory don't fail me, I think it was before the project finished or maybe after we show it. I don't know, but he just got very good in a very short time for the
Hmm.
animations, and that was very nice to have some. It's someone we don't have today, someone dedicated to animations. Uh, but it was really nice to see this first little project. And I think that
Hmm.
was 2018 or maybe 2017. I'm not sure.
No, maybe it is 17 or maybe it is actually 16.
Could be. Yeah.
Could be 16. 17 no way. Yes, it's 16. It's
Yeah.
been some time ago.
Yeah. But it was nice. It was our first experience with checking the industry, at least in Latin America, where it's like pretty small. But it was nice. It's a nice experience if you got the opportunity to go abroad to a convention like GDC or something like that. I think you will enjoy it.
Hmm. And so, how did we go about? Okay, so we were making a game, right? How do you stop like putting more ideas into the game and just start creating it? Because you guys had me, and I just threw so many ideas, and I just couldn't stop. How did we find that line? And that also goes along with the question, right? The question is, do you have any advice on how to stick to one project and finish it instead of starting one with lots and lots of different ideas all the time? Which is what I did
I
so many
think I
times.
think it was the deadline because without the deadline we will just keep adding things. But also it's the experience. We didn't know back then how long things take. We
Mm,
underestimate everything.
yeah,
So we just kept adding ideas because we felt like, yeah, why not? It's pretty simple. Can do that.
and it wasn't simple. It
Yeah, it
wasn't
wasn't
simple. No.
simple. Even with experience, like you can make it easier, but it still takes time.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
it was a fun experience. I kind of like that time where we made the small project.
Yeah, we should have definitely continued with it.
Yeah,
Instead, I think that you guys traveled, right? Where was it? I think you traveled to Argentina for another competition, right? Was it
yeah.
with that game?
No, that was the VR game
Oh, but then how did we start making the VR game? I cannot remember that
because
because
VR was kind of hot back then.
no, but I remember that you guys traveled or something and you came back with the idea we need to make a VR game.
Mm, I
Did
don't
you guys
remember
travel?
that, but I think that VR was like a pretty popular back then. It's like this new thing that you put on a helmet and you can have
Hmm.
like I don't know, super amazing experience, sword art like. And we think we thought back then that that was a good opportunity. It's like let's stop this project and let's create a VR game because you know opportunities don't come that easy. That
Hmm.
and that was a big mistake. That's
I
a
do remember
yeah.
you again. You guys traveled or something. I cannot recall. But you guys came back and came to me and it was like, okay, we stop doing this game. We do VR. And I was like, what? what? Why? No, we just do. Okay, I guess we're doing VR. So we stopped that game that we really loved, right? To have a chance at that new market, and we
Yeah.
bought a HTC Vive. We were just really hyped with it, and once we tried it, it was the VR was amazing, right? It was really
Mm.
another experience.
Yeah.
But developing that game was not fun at all.
No.
All of the limitations, although the game idea was pretty fun, but will not be so well implemented though.
Yeah. There were a lot of limitations. I think that's a good example of uh, why you should stick to a project, how you don't change it. It's like
Mm.
you just don't look for things and just try new things over and over. You just stick to one project and finish it. And looking back then, I think finishing this little action game that we had will have been the best.
Yeah, because we also got a great lead. We had a small community, right? Very small because we didn't really push for it, but it was very nice, very rewarding, right? It was really
Yeah.
positive feedback from everyone.
Yeah, I still remember that day when we put this Reddit post about check this rock light we're making it,
Mm.
and it was pretty new. I mean, uh, it was kind of hot that to see a rock light in 3D like that, like the fantasy thing we like to make and everything. It was very nice to see, very refreshing.
It had a little bit of controversy too because a lot of people were saying that's not a roguelite, that's a roguelite, and people were just talking a lot. Maybe that helped too. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was nice. I didn't expect there was gonna be a discussion about it.
Mhm.
And that's a good sign. Well, like when you make something and people talk about it, um, maybe that's the right track.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And well, are you feeling like a couple of questions or
Okay, let's go for one more.
okay? So kind of a strange question is this: how can I evaluate my own skills if I'm self-taught in 3D modeling? Like, how can I know if I'm good enough for a junior position as a hard surface artist, for example? And you've done that too, so probably you can share
Uh,
some.
I think people will tell you when it's good or bad. Uh, you just compare the stuff you make with the stuff that it's currently trending on ArtStation or any other website. Mostly ArtStation because that's where recruiters spend their time looking for people. And you
Mhm.
just compare, like, is it like the same quality? And if it's not the same or better, it's not there yet. And people will tell you. Now it's a little bit harder because the platform got so big that it's really hard to get the attention. Um, but I had like the same problem when I was making environments. How do I know if they are good enough to enter like a position in a big company? And I just kept doing, and whatever I do, it didn't grab the attention. And there was this last environment that I put it and got a lot of attention. And that's where I got like the message from Ubisoft to work there, and people start asking me if I do freelance work and this kind of stuff. You just need to keep doing it until people notice you. I mean, good work can be
Hmm.
unseen.
Yeah, I can kind of relate. I mean, I didn't get a job in Ubisoft, right? But I remember I was just doing effects and just posting them on YouTube or on ArtStation. And then there was just this one that I put some effort into, and it grabbed people's attention, right? And I got called for that article in the what was the page 80 level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got some offers for freelance, and that was terrible. That was terrible. But yeah, yeah. I guess that what you say makes sense, right? You will tell.
They will tell
Hmm.
you when it's good.
Hmm. Hmm.
And also,
Yeah.
like if you want the job, depends a lot where you live. Like if you already live in a place where, I don't know, this company you like to work with is already there, you just go there and ask them, hey, I want to work for you. Are you have any opening positions for me? And I think getting noticed is the first step. It's the hardest one because if they don't know you exist, even if you are the best in the world, they won't. Um, they won't hire you.
Mm. Yeah. And one of our topics was talking about how it is doing video games in a, for example, South American country. Do you want to switch to that topic yet, or do you still have more stuff to talk about?
Mm, I think that um, it's not only Latin America, but other underdeveloped countries. You don't have
Hmm.
these big companies that come here and create jobs, right? For example,
And
you have,
it's and
sorry.
it's also like when you go to those companies, it's not what you expect, right? You, from a little kid, you imagine, okay, I'm gonna do the next Devil May Cry or things like that, right? But you go to those companies and they're just making games for Pepsi or for right, and you
Yeah.
get really frustrated. Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Continue.
dream killer. The dream killer
Hmm.
companies. Let's call them that way.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
don't have these big companies here. Uh, so it's much easier. For example, if I were to born in China, um, I just go to EA or Ubisoft there, and I will get a job pretty easy. I just need to practice, showcase my portfolio skills, and I'm just there. And it's easier. It's not easy to get in, but if you're already in a country where these big companies are established and want to recruit local talent, uh, you have an edge there. If you're not, um, what most people do is, you know, create their own thing. Because who wants to work for a game for Pepsi, right? Or for, can you remember any
Hmm.
fun game that you saw make here, like for a brand, something like that?
Can you rephrase it? I cannot remember.
Like any fun game that was made here,
Oh,
but for a brand. And
no.
usually they're terrible because this kind of games
Hmm.
is like, for example, you want to sell Pepsi. Uh, I don't know
Hmm.
if they made a Pepsi game here, but um,
They have. They surely have.
like you have a
Yeah.
client, and the client knows nothing about games. They just have this Pepsi, like this bottle is like a little bit brighter than the other one. Let's make everyone buys it by playing the game. This is another way of marketing. They just care about marketing and sales. And
Hmm.
it's like, you just do an ugly thing and you give the game to them and they just pay you. And
Right.
these companies don't make money from the game, they make money when they sell the Pepsi. So
Hmm.
they really don't care about if the game is good or not, they only care if they are converting those sales from people who are playing it to buying something. But this kind of projects is like awful to work with. Nobody wants to work on them. But the sad reality is that people don't have much chance here, so they just take it.
Mm. Yeah. There's no other choice. Yes. Unless they get called like you, right? To go overseas.
Yeah, you need to go
Hmm.
out
Hmm.
if you want to work for someone. Otherwise, you just create your own thing, which is what most people here do. A lot of indie games come from Latin America, most of them are don't have the quality that they expect to have because they don't have the skills. Uh, One thing is the language barrier. Most information is in English, and the other thing is like they are stuck with these cancer projects they need to work with so they can get some money.
Hmm.
And
And it's a loop, right? They just need the money and they just keep doing it. It's really hard to get out of that too.
it's really hard. It's really hard. So if you're in a country where there is a game company there with a big name established, you are very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you just
Yeah.
work harder to get out. It still can be done. I still
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of offers to go out almost every week, one new offer. So it's pretty normal once you have the skills, like you're fine. But it takes some time.
But even so, what is the difference in working with these AAA companies and just doing your own thing? Not don't give a lot of like big detailed information. Just something simple. Like what makes you stay here in doing your own projects, doing your own YouTube, for example.
Just makes me happier because these big companies don't rely on creativity, they rely on politics. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, you're just there to do one thing, and that's it. And it's like, okay, for 1 month, it's okay. Then two, three, you're starting to question, like, what else? No? And you could, like, make your way around in the company and be creative and propose new things. But you will find a lot of struggles, political struggles, where people don't really care much about the game. They care about being promoted. And it's like, oh, let's do this thing. Like, for example, you love games and you want to make a great game. Let's do this thing. Like, I feel like it's the right decision. The game will turn out great. But then someone who just, I don't know, has other priorities in life. They have a family they need to take care of. It's like, yeah, that's nice, but let's just do this thing because this thing will get me promoted.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do that, you will get in trouble because those people are your bosses, your superiors, and everyone. So it's really hard to be creative there. Even though they tell you like you can do it, they encourage you to fail and create new things. The reality is that in a big company, everyone is like fighting for their own. Most people don't think about, oh, let's make a great game, and they come up together and create something great. Which is, I personally feel like a lot of AAA games lack feeling now. It just, another game. It's just more everything, like more graphics, bigger maps, more characters, everything bigger, but not many things new lately. I feel like that. I don't know how you feel about it.
We can make the classic comparison, right? How our old games felt. I remember you and I just spent hours just playing, for example, waves on that Ghost Recon game, and it was just fun, just mindless fun, right? And they are just no longer that way. They have other worries now, right? Like, okay, how to make more money, how to make the game, I don't know, infinite. You know, it
Mm,
just feels way too different.
yeah.
Of course, you say it on the game dev side, but it also replicates right on the games. Obviously, they're just different. It's no longer so fun to play them anymore, for sure. Although
Yeah.
Breakpoint is very good. Ghost Recon Breakpoint is so good, so fun.
Yeah, there's still some games there try to make something different.
And it's Ubisoft. Like, how did that? Wow, that's
They're
very good.
they're very creative for some things, for other things not so much, but I don't know. They can
Mm.
surprise you from time to time. But the the concern of these big companies is mostly money. It's very expensive to make these games. This is why lately we have seen a lot of acquisitions from Microsoft buying something, um,
Mm.
like Activision buying Blizzard, and this kind of companies. Like they are big, but they are not gigantic. Like
Mm-hmm.
Tencent buying almost everything. Like most people don't
Mm.
know Tencent, and I think it's bigger than Microsoft, much
They're
bigger.
behind everything, right? Almost everything.
They own everything, and these companies have the money to, instead of spending $100 million in one game, they spend like 300, 400 to create uh, something better. That's why you see these acquisitions lately, because these big companies cannot afford it anymore to create something better, different, with the same amount of uh, you know investment. Like they only have 100 million. That's it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what you get with 100 million.
Hmm. I see. I see.
There are any
Um.
questions in the chat?
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna check it. So, Sargent asked us, "Hello, I've graduated from computer games development years ago. I've been out of practice for a while in the C++, game design and modeling. What was your best way to get motivated to do these works?" I guess that he means works that don't really mm, lit your fire, right? Like
uh,
chores, more like that.
uh, I don't know, just don't do it. it
I guess so. I mean, but if you're in an indie team and someone has to do them, like, I guess you
uh,
just
yeah,
got to
there
tackle
are
them.
many ways to avoid it. If you're in an indie team and you have like a lot of crap work to do, uh there's a lot of things that are free there. Marketplace assets, everything can make like be the solution for everything, can be cheaper. And big companies cannot do that because of copyright issues, and also a term in a, like, quality wise, they don't want the game to look like, oh look, this is the same texture I found in another game or something like that. But for indies it really doesn't matter. And if there are a bunch of things that you don't like to do, think about like if they're useful. If they're not useful, then try to look for something else, I think, because it can destroy your drive to make games or do something you like.
It makes sense. I wouldn't really have an answer for that, but it makes sense. We have one last one. And Murat says, "Hi guys, and thanks for all of your advices. I wish to know more about the advanced stages of making a game, starting with the platform, cooking, publishing, running, and maintaining the player servers. Oh, hmm. How do you answer that? I wish to know more about the advanced stages of making a game, starting with the platform, cooking, publishing, running, and maintaining multiplayer servers. That may be a little bit too complex.
I don't know about the servers, but usually the games have the alpha, the beta, and all these releases before they go out. And basically, when
Mm-hmm.
you want to, when your game is more advanced, it means that you just need to polish everything and take care of the bugs. So a lot of people will play the game. The testers make sure the testers play the game pretty often, report the bugs, and when there is no bug in your game, or very little, very minor bug, you could just release it. If you have the content, you have a marketing and other stuff, like it's another thing. You should market your game from the very early stages to see if there is a product market fit for it, and just showcase your game. Like, it's gonna release in 6 months, you showcase some things here and there some videos, whatever, to grab the attention. But it's not an easy thing to do, and also requires money if you want a lot of marketing. The best thing you can do is to have a YouTube channel, to have your followers, and you can just put it there, and boom, you have thousands of people watching your trailer. Potentially, it will go to other people too, but that also takes time to create a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that is right. Well, I hope that kind of answered it. It was a little bit of a big question.
Yeah.
But I think it's good time to wrap it up.
Yep.
And we can find more subjects for the next podcast, and also with Ram, we have a lot of more stories with that too, and also that you learned some things for sure. For the next one, I'm gonna fix my microphone. I'm not sure what's going on with it, but I hope it's not so robotic as before.
Yeah. See you guys